Hey guys, welcome back to another Unfiltered Gamer card game review. Today up on the chopping block is a game called Herbacious by Pencils First. It is 1 to 4 players, about 20 minutes to play, and about 8 and up you have to be in order to play this game. This game is basically a set collection game that involves players taking turns drawing from a deck and placing it either to their community garden or their own private garden. And as they acquire new cards, they are able to start putting those cards or herbs into their own pots and acquiring points for each of those pots. And after everybody has acquired a set for each of their 4 different unique sets, you tally up the points, and that is the winner of the game based on the highest amount of points. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and show you this beautiful game. Alright guys, so this is the setup for Herbacious. Basically you have your 4 unique cards, each in front of every single player. That is their potting cards, and that is where you would basically plant your herbs. You've got your herb deck, you have your player references, your biscuit card, and your private garden marker, which indicates where your private garden is going to be. Here, this blank space is going to be our community garden. Now, because we're playing a 2-player game, we take the top 24 cards off the deck, discarding randomly, and remove them from the game. This will give us our stack for the entire game. Once this is depleted, that's when the game is done with. Alright, let's go ahead and show you how the game works. So in Herbacious, you have 2 different things you can do on your turn. The first thing you can choose to do is potting, and the second thing you can do is planting. Now, potting is actually not mandatory, where planting is. And on your first turn, you're definitely not going to want to pot. In fact, I don't even think you can. But basically, potting is choosing one of your pots here, and placing all cards from your private garden and your public garden and putting them in here as much as possible. And each and every single one of these unique cards is going to call for different cards. More on that later. The next thing you do is planting, where you draw a card off the top of the deck, you look at it and decide, do you want to keep it in your private garden or put it in the public? If you don't want it, you put it in the public, and then you draw again and place it in the private. Vice versa the other way. If you draw the card and you want to keep it in your private, then you draw another card and you put it in your public. That way, public is going to be increasing exponentially throughout the game. But those are the basic 2 things you do in your turn. Alright, let's show you how a turn works. Alright guys, so because potting herbs is optional and currently you don't want to do it because we have no herbs, we're going to move on to the planting. We'll go ahead and start with this player over here first. They will simply draw a card and look at it. Rosemary, do they want it? Maybe they don't, they put it in the community. Then they draw the next one and it has to go into their private garden. The next thing they do is end their turn and let somebody else go, which would be this person. They would draw a card, lavender, maybe they don't want it, so they put it in the community or public garden, and then they draw a new one, chives, they keep this one. Now you have cards like this, chives specifically, that has bonus points on it, and these guys can only go into your glass bottle here. And you get bonus points for each and every one of these cards you have. In fact, right here it says you can have up to 3 cards in this pot, and you can have up to 6 points if you have 3 cards in there, plus any bonus points attached to the cards. Now these chives would give you 2, so if you had 3 cards together, 2 being regular ones and 1 chive, you would get the 6 points, plus you would get the bonus 2 points for the chives. That's how that works. Next turn, you continue to go again. Maybe he wants the dill, and he puts this one in here, and then this person goes and puts out the sage, and this person goes ahead and places the chives here, and so that would be continuously going on and on. Now let me go ahead and talk about the potting, since we have enough cards out. Okay, so for the first part of your turn involves potting herbs, which is your optional. So here we have the 4 different pots you have in front of you. And once you go ahead and pot one of these 4 cards, it gets removed from the game and waits later for scoring. This one here says for each and every pair you put under this card, you get a certain amount of points, starting with 2 pairs. All the way, 2 different types of cards to 12 different. So if you had 2 lavender, you'd get 4 points. And if you had all 12, which is 6 pairs, you would get 18 points. This one here is each different type of card. So if you have 7 different unique cards that aren't including the bonus cards, you can get to 14 points with this card. This one here is all of the same card. So you would need 4, 5, or 6 lavender. Most you can have 7, which I've never seen happen. But you can get up to 22 points with this card. And the last one is your random open glass bottle one, which you can have 3 of any cards you want, and you get points for that, plus you get bonuses for those unique pluses. Let's go ahead and show you how potting works involving the community garden and the private garden. Alright, so we've moved on throughout the game, and it's now this player's turn. And they have decided that they want to pot their herbs. So they're going to go ahead and select which pot they want to use. So they're going to select this one, which is the pear option. So you can have as many pears as you can put underneath this thing. So they'll move these aside, and they'll go, okay, let's take from the community garden here. This is a pear right here, and they'll place it under it. And then they'll say, okay, I can make chives here, and they can place it under it. However, they couldn't because these chives specifically here are the bonus points, and they can only be used in this one here. But the sage, however, they can take from each pile, put it here, and put it underneath. And if they had any others, they could do so, but they don't. There's no other pairs located. So this would get locked and placed aside for later scoring. Just like that. And the game would continue by this player having to do the mandatory planting step, which is to draw a card and place it, maybe they don't want it, and draw a new card and put it here. There you go. Also, to note, there is a biscuit card, and this is the biscuit card right here. And if you're the first person to get a bonus 1, 2, and 3 herb and place it under this here, you get a bonus 5 points at the end of the game. Noting that, after all of your cards have been planted, the game continues until everybody has planted all of their cards. This would be your opponents. Once they had planted all those cards, then the game would end and scoring would begin. Let me show you how scoring works. Alright, so here we see one player's finished potting phase. So everybody has done this, and now scoring is going to begin. We're going to take a look at just this guy's scoring, and you could assume that it works the same way for everybody else. So we'll start with this pot right here. And this obviously says different types of herbs. So we'll look at here, we'll say 1, 2, 3, and 4, lavender, rosemary, dill, and bay. So that gives us 4 cards at 6 points. So 6 would be added, and we move that aside. And we get the glass jar there. 3 different cards we have right here. So that's 6 points. Plus we get the bonuses for the chive and mint. That gives us 9 points there. Next thing we move on. This is all the same card, as you can even see it represents it right there. And flip over, and you got 4 bay leaves. So that is going to give you 14 points. Moving aside. Now the final one here is pears, and we've done this in the previous step, which had sage and dill, 4 cards at 8 points. You add up all those points together, and you would include this biscuit here if you had managed to pull it off, but this player didn't, so it wouldn't. And the person with the most points at the end of the game is the winner of Herbacious. And that's basically how you play. Let's talk about my review. So Herbacious is a very sweet, flow-like game that is short, but very, very fun. In fact, I really enjoyed this game. The replayability is there consistently because you're always drawing new cards and going for new strategies. You're entirely trying to plant as much as you can, and realizing, though, that the deck runs out a lot quicker with the more players you have than you wouldn't necessarily have thought. In fact, the first couple times I was playing the game, I didn't actually realize that drawing 2 cards a turn for every single player is going to be that significant. And if you don't actually start potting early on, you're going to lose a bunch of points. That being said, it's replayable because not only as well as you're always playing with different people and going for different strategies, but they also include these nice little flavor cards. Cinnamon, star anise, and peppercorn. I might have been butchering the names. But basically what happens is you add these to your herb deck, and if you draw them, everybody takes an action. Like cinnamon here says you can exchange one of your private garden herbs with one of the community garden herbs, and you would have that happen in a clockwise fashion. And the game itself is just simply wonderful. The art is wonderful. The box art is great. The insert is great. Everything about this game really works, and I really enjoyed it. In fact, I think everybody I've played it with so far has wanted to play it more than once. We've probably played this game 3 times, even though it's kind of a filler game, in a row consistently every time we've pulled this game out. I really suggest you checking out this game. Pencil First did an excellent job. Herbacious is a really fun game. Do go ahead and check it out. It'll be in the description below. Thanks for watching another Unfiltered Gamer board game review. If you want to see more of this content, go ahead and check out the rest of our videos here on YouTube. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, if you like this content, you can go ahead and check out our website, unfilteredgamer.com. There we have tons of giveaways, blog posts, and other great stuff, as well as checking out our affiliated websites, thegiveawaygeek.com and everythingboardgames.com. Alright guys, that's it for this one, and we look forward to seeing you next time.